Hello and happy Sunday, or at least that's the day I'm recording this. Again, my name is Lewis, and we welcome you to our daily channel here. Now, you may be wondering, why does this look completely different? And that's because it is completely different. See, I am in possession of my child's system, which includes his microphone and, of course, the primary CPU. And what's happening is I'm going to use it because it's sitting here in our room. So, I want to welcome you to yet another, hopefully, daily encouragement. I plan to do more of these, which is what I said earlier in yesterday's video, or the previous video, I should say. And you'll notice that I'm trying to do a different setup. I'll try to do different pictures, hopefully some encouraging things, some encouraging items. Maybe I'll even have if I'm going over a certain verse, I'll have that verse as a background. Again, this is a work in progress. We're going little by little. I know for myself, one of my favorite podcasters that I listen to, he he's been doing his videos for I think 5 years, and when you go back to his initial videos and you look at what he does now, the product is great now. And even back then, although I wouldn't criticize him, I think he would very openly say there was a huge change in what he's done. So hopefully give me some time. Equipment will change and the systems I use will change, but hopefully the content will be consistent and will be a help to you. So I mentioned the idea of trying to be encouraging and just being completely transparent, knowing that I'm a flawed human and I struggle with a lot in life. I have a couple of devotionals that I'm listening to. I also have books that I'm going to intend to read this year. I actually had a friend of mine create a new book list of, friends of mutual friends and acquaintances that we have, and them recommending books that they're encouraged by. So I'm part of that. So I hope to add a bit to that list. But primarily, the key thing we want to focus on is the Bible and the things that it teaches us. And what I'm hoping to do is, if you haven't noticed, is take basic principles. I'm not trying to do deep dives. Although if the opportunity comes that we get into some kind of series and we hit multiple bigger item things, then we'll go ahead and do that. But as for right now, we're just hitting on small principles, because what I would hope is that we can actually conquer these small principles, because I feel like we don't. I feel like as Christians, in my experience, there are people that continually struggle with saying they're a Christian but not actually acting like one. So that's my goal. It's my intent. We'll see how it works out. Um, so for today, one of the devotionals I am going through is a series talking about a word fast. If you ever get the opportunity to view our church service, one of the things that we've done for the last couple years is, as we start the new year off, take some time fasting. And it's not to because we're better than other people, but it's literally devoting time to prayer, to communicating with God, to strengthening ourselves for the new year. Whether it's spending time Bible reading more, whether it's time um, praying more, or whatever it is, it's devoting that time specifically to God and letting Him help us grow. So, with the idea of fasting, this particular devotional talked about a word fast, and it was taking concepts and ideas that it seems that anybody and everybody could struggle with, and trying to limit or control those words, and maybe even trying to eliminate them. And one of the words was complaining, and talking about looking at situations and complaining about them. And one of the principles that it said was, when we complain, we sometimes show our lack of faith in what God has put us in, or in the situation, and the reason why. That He's not in control, or He's not going to use that specific situation that you're in for His glory and His purposes. So, with that being said, the that could be a whole nother series. But the word that it talked about today was sarcasm. Now, I bring that up because I can be a victim of being sarcastic. And if you watch any TV show, or you watch, honestly, if you're a sports fan like I am, you watch some of the sports broadcasts that are out there, you will find a lot of sarcasm. Now, it's under the guise of, oh, I was just kidding, or it was just a joke, or come on, I don't really mean that. And honestly, today, people will be, and I say this kindly, people will be in their feelings. Are they wrong? Not necessarily. See, I shouldn't sit there and be sarcastic when I really don't know what the other person's thinking. I'll give you a good example. Uh, my my daughter will sometimes ask a question, and I'll smile at her, and she goes, "Never mind, I already know the answer," because I try to joke around a lot with her. But I have to be careful because there are times where I don't know if the question she's asking is a serious question or she's joking around. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to offend her because I'm being sarcastic. Now, the Bible verse that we're going to use to reference for today is Psalm 141 and verse 3, which says, "Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips." See, it's an important thing to remember that although you may be joking or you may be kidding around, the person you're speaking with, you have no idea what kind of day they have. And honestly, if I could say this boldly, we don't know what kind of reputation you've built up. Maybe you've said hurtful words. Maybe you've said a lot of condemning things, and you've made it where even your jokes end up offending. And we don't want to be guilty of that. Again, I expect my primary audience to be Christians. And so as a Christian, your words are supposed to be used for edifying. That's the purpose you're supposed to have. And if you're being sarcastic, honestly, it's being critical. And what you're doing is using an excuse, and it's wrong. Out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. And if everything you say is sarcastic and critical, then you may be struggling with a heart issue that you need to fix up. And honestly, if you're sitting there saying things that are purposefully bugging somebody and purposefully hurting, and honestly, let's go to the ultimate word, offending, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. In other words, if you know you should be doing better and you're not doing it, you're sinning. And as a Christian, that's what we're trying to avoid. Now you say, "Lewis, you're not really being encouraging." Well, actually I am, because I'm sure that you don't want someone being sarcastic to you. You don't want someone being critical to you and saying all these things they shouldn't be saying and doing all these things they shouldn't be doing because it's just offending you. See, sarcasm is a tool that's used to make the offender think that they're not doing so bad. It's a small little thing. And honestly, hear me out on this. The person you're speaking to, maybe they are sensitive. Maybe they're bitter and they just are struggling with some things that they shouldn't be struggling with. But guess what? That's not your responsibility to govern their feelings and to judge their feelings. What your responsibility is to control how you act and the way you respond to others. See, one of the things I catch myself saying a lot, whether it's for myself or even for my children or even some friends, I say we've got to spend less time worrying about me when it comes to offenses and trying to say, one, is that really such a bad thing that person said to me? It may not have been. And maybe my initial reaction was inappropriate because I just automatically assumed the worst. And honestly, that's a wrong thing to do. Also, if I'm very sarcastic, maybe I've given that person reason to be offended. Now, the offense that they're taking, That's something that they've got to settle between them and God. What we're talking about is you. Are you being sarcastic a lot to someone? Are you offending someone? Then you really shouldn't be doing it. Again, the verse, Psalm 141, verse 3, we'll say it one more time. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Help me not to be doing the things that's going to offend my brother, my sister, for me, my children, my family members, my co-workers. Just stop doing it. Stop being sarcastic. Anyway, it's the thought for the day. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day from whenever it is you're watching, and we'll see you next time.